Alrighty, so time for the first video, long format on this 300ZX. We're going to start with draining the oil and the coolant as well. I'll probably jack up the back to make it sit forward because it's on ramps right now, so I can get under it. Yeah, I'll start with the oil and then we'll move on to draining the coolant. And then I'm going to go pick up an engine hoist to take the engine out of this car so we can reseal everything, because everything leaks oil and whatnot and coolant. Also could probably use a new thermostat. Alright, quick little interlude here. So when I pull the engine out, I am actually going to switch to a standalone ECU as well as a custom wiring harness. I got a turbo from my workplace for free, so I think I'm just going to throw that in now. And I'll build the engine and whatnot. I just need to get all the components together, but then I'll start recording and I'll do a video on the full teardown and all the custom stuff that I'm gonna need to do to fit that turbo and make it work correctly. Let's get the rest of this oil out here. Well, the job's not done until you bleed on it. That's good. This oil drain down here. We'll pick up the hoist and everything. Alrighty, with a little change in perspective, let's go ahead and head to pick up the engine crane from my work, because they're letting me borrow it, luckily enough for me. Alrighty, we got the cherry picker. I also bought a couple other things from Harbor Freight. We just have to unload all this stuff now, and we should be good to go. So I'll see you guys then. Alrighty, so went to Harbor Freight, got myself a load balancer. Hopefully this one will work, and some hooks as well. Never pulled an engine before, so we'll see how this goes. But I'm gonna go ahead and get the hooks set up so they sit. Try to see if the engine will sit like that. This is going to be mildly challenging. We got two different types of hooks here. I know this isn't technically the right stuff, but it should be alright. Alright, it's time to see. This is not very straight. If we can get these hooks attached here. This is even, oh, I gotta go. Alrighty. The struts are bad, so I have to do this one-handed, but let's see which one of these hooks fits through the lifting eye. Over there. That one doesn't. Looks a little guy here. Yeah, that one fits perfect. So we'll put, oh, you guys can't see it, but yeah, that fits perfect right there. Wish I had a little bit different mount for this camera here. Alright, let's check the one in the back. So, all the way very back here, you guys won't be able to see it, but so we have to find a bolt. Some kind. I wish there was another lifting eye back there. But that should be alright. We'll figure it out. Need one of these on each. Okay, so we need to honestly, I could probably just like that. Alrighty, well, I decided to stop screwing around with the lifting gear for now, and I'm gonna start pulling all this stuff apart here in the engine bay, disconnecting fuel lines and things like that. And then after we get all that off and apart, we'll drain coolant and just generally prep to take this engine out. I don't think I'm going to do it until tomorrow, but I'd rather just show up and then drain the coolant instead of screwing around here for too long. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on all of that. And I left my tools sitting in the sun because I'm smart. So they're all hot as balls. Also missing my 13 mil for some reason. Here's the X's right here. Let's go unscrew that. Alright, so basically what I was yapping on about right here was just taking out the radiator fill cap, obviously, to let the coolant drain a little bit faster, and talking about how you have to be careful about not letting the radiator fluid like gush out of the lower radiator hose if it hasn't fully drained yet. But luckily it did for me, so that's just something to look out for if you guys are following along with this video for a build for whatever reason. We can go ahead and get started on removing the upper radiator coolant lines. Some of this stuff you will have to use picks because these hoses have been on here forever. Unless you have, unless you bought a car that someone like threw some parts at and already has silicone hoses, then these should just slide right off. But these have been on here probably the entire life of the car. Probably gonna have to fish all around this hose here. get it to come all the way off. And you should definitely replace these hoses regardless of if you're doing a full rebuild or not on any Z31 or older car in general. And you should also replace the radiator as well. It will ensure that you don't break down or overheat on the side of the highway somewhere. But that's for later. Now let's focus on getting some of these coolant hoses and whatnot out and disconnected. That is another reason that you have these hoses. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's not good. It's not supposed to be in there. Alright, now with the upper radiator hose off, and with most of the coolant out of the car, we can start on the lower radiator hose. So we just have to come down here, the drain plug for the coolant, back there. Even though you just drain the radiator out, the lower radiator hose will most certainly have coolant still in it, so you're going to want to make sure to be careful when you're pulling this one off. Again, it'll probably be pretty stuck on there. Okay. Looks like it's actually a lot more empty than I was expecting it to be. So with that, lower radiator hose off. Now we should probably move on to the wiring harness and engine accessories. We can start with this plug down here. That one wasn't plugged in very well. It's alright. Okay. Now, back up here. Now back up on top of the engine, we can begin removing all of the connectors and stuff holding this harness on. It looks like a lot of these have been broken and disconnected before, which isn't great, but it is a pretty old car. Alrighty, I have returned with some stuff here. So in order to keep everything organized, I'm just going to throw, like for example, these two bolts here. These are the fan shroud bolts. So I'm just going to tuck those in there or not fan shroud, but what would that be? The injector cooling shroud bolts. So I'll just label the bag. Like that with my awful handwriting, and then you can take that, throw it in a bucket. That way you don't lose or misplace any of these little bolts and whatnot. And then unzip the lock to the back. So you can check that way. Okay, it looks like it's the ground. It's here. So I'm going to split up. Okay, I'll take out these clips. I don't know as far as it goes. I've done that media beam. That looks okay. This goes nowhere. Nope, that hurts. Just one of those. Oh, wait. So then, continue to take all this stuff here. There's left. Yeah, all this stuff. There it is. No. I'm gonna put these up right there. Some just goes away here. Ooh, that does not look good. Something else wrong with that. Not exactly sure. That's a vacuum line. The vacuum goes in the later. That's exactly correct with this, but it's all back here. Nope, nope. It's kind of rough. Try one of those. I'll just see where that slide came from. Alright, not that. Out of the way. It's not holding this. This is the control.
That's pretty cool. Thanks, that's pretty stable.
Yeah, recording something.
Oh, I don't stand by it.
I think it's hanging out. Also, generally, I'm pretty good on those.
Pretty nice voice too, probably. Pretty much careful. Too much knowledge towards that. Sample knowledge.
That's true.
What year is it for?
1986.
What's that thing now?
Maybe. Yeah. No, that feels pretty good.
For 3 years, you've been doing it for 3 years?
Yeah. From, what was it, 1996 to 2021.
Now you really know that. Yeah, you do. Have you ever done much before you did it?
It's also one of these over here. No, well. Should, in theory, set it one. Face mark, please. Face mark, please. sure it doesn't still running. All these pictures are running. This wire is here. This is good. Here's scissors. No, just one here. That's it. Your valve. Okay, that's just gonna come with. Epic wipe. Just come off. Just okay, that's much right now. Your valve. Yes. Yeah, I wish. That's all I got. Yeah, mostly stuff. No, just trying to fish. This wire is out from between the top and this intake on here. There's a couple of lines over this. Something. I think it was that. There's that thing. There's now. Yeah, yes. Got all those things up for you. Yeah. Back line. Right there. They all kinds of back lines this. About 100 feet towards the end. There's all kinds of diagrams lines, so I'll just figure out once I get this out all these, all the wire lines. Because it's going to all the images are in the valve right this. Here's the fuel right there. Yeah, it's very technical, but it's like right now. But I'll have to point that. This isn't going to come out. I'm not really like that yet. But that's going to be we'll build it second time. And build another reference. Placing acid stuff, make it work and do well for this time. Yeah. Here's this door right here, and here's a little bit of this. I'm not sure how many of these are on there. I might put this back here. So I might have to find out what kind of there are inside these and hold them like that. Yeah. I worked some air PSS put those on. But I have to figure out how to get these connected up. And then there's more lines right here. And I have to disconnect. That's pretty standard. Yeah. You don't want to get those heads off. Yeah. Maybe I should. I might. If I had like $3,000 I could pull the replace the rods, the forged rods, replace the forged pistons, and then go around stuff, so I'm not doing all that. You have to roll out. No, I don't see. It's a casting block, so I don't do very much. Yeah, that's a possibility. But Two ones gonna go. And again, bolting is the transmission. So it's moving volt. Thinking about down there. Okay, so. Alrighty, so the engine's finally come out of this little car. It had one hell of a rear main seal leak, I'll tell you that much right now. But yeah, we'll get it all resealed and get those new radiator hoses on there and get it dropped back in the car.
Baba Booey.